The amber is warm under your fingertips, almost hot, which makes no sense because the museum's climate control keeps everything at exactly 68 degrees. You're leaning over the velvet rope, close enough that the security guard 2 galleries over clears his throat, but you don't care. The fossil display says the amber came from Myanmar, that it's 99 million years old, that the prehistoric ant suspended inside is perfectly preserved. But it's not the ant you're looking at, it's the light. Golden light pours through the bead like liquid sun, throwing a disc of honey-coloured glow onto the white museum floor, and for a moment the floor seems to ripple. The walls breathe. Your stomach lurches the way it does on an airplane during turbulence, and suddenly you're not standing anymore. You're falling sideways through that golden light, through the floor, through time itself. You hit sand hard enough to knock the wind out of your lungs. Hot sand. The kind of heat that makes tar soft and mirages real. You roll onto your back, gasping, and the sky is wrong. Too blue, too bright, clouds shaped like nothing you've ever seen. Your hand is still clenched around something small and hard. The amber, it came with you. You sit up slowly, sand grinding between your teeth, and take in the landscape. Ferns. Massive ferns taller than houses, their fronds casting lacework shadows across ground covered in rust-coloured needles. Beyond them, things that might be trees but aren't. Cycads with thick trunks and crown-like tops, and others you can't name because they don't exist anymore, haven't existed for longer than human beings have had words. The air is thick and wet, pressing against your skin like a hot towel. A river winds through the vegetation 50 yards away, the water dark as strong tea. Something massive moves near the tree line. You freeze, every muscle locked. A hadrosaur, you know it immediately from a childhood spent memorising dinosaur books, dips its duck-billed head to the ferns. It's the size of a school bus and covered in pebbly skin that shifts between grey and green depending on the light. Behind it, 3 more browse the vegetation, making sounds like cows, low rumbling calls that you feel in your chest. Your breath comes fast and shallow. This is real. This is actually real. You're in the Cretaceous, somewhere around 66 million years before the present, before the asteroid, before the die-off, when these creatures still ruled the Earth and your ancestors were tiny mammals hiding in burrows. Your hand tightens around the amber and you raise it, studying it in the prehistoric light. The ant inside is still there, still frozen mid-step. But now there's something else. Knowledge settling into your brain like a memory that isn't yours, information written in the amber's structure. You know, suddenly and certainly, how this works. At solar noon, when the sun is directly overhead, you hold the amber up so the light creates a perfect ring around your shadow. Step inside that ring and predators can't sense you. You read as inert resin, as non-living matter, as safe as the trees. Break the ring, let your shadow slip outside the circle of light, and you're flesh again. You're prey. And at sunset you can go home. Face the sun, tilt the amber until its internal bubble, a tiny trapped sphere of ancient air, reflects in your pupil, and when your shadow fits completely inside the shrinking ring, step backward. You'll land exactly where you left. A dragonfly the size of a dinner plate buzzes past your face and you jerk back, nearly dropping the amber. The insect's wings are transparent and veined like stained glass, refracting light into tiny rainbows. It hovers for a moment, massive compound eyes regarding you with alien intelligence, then zips away toward the river. You force yourself to stand, legs shaking. The sand is pale grey and fine, volcanic maybe, and it's everywhere. You're at the edge of a clearing, the jungle wall rising like a green cliff 30 feet away. The hadrosaurs are moving off, their footsteps making the ground tremble slightly. You check the sky. The sun is climbing, not quite overhead yet. Maybe 11 in the morning. You have time before noon. You walk toward the river, testing each step, expecting the ground to dissolve under you, or the whole scene to shatter like a hallucination. It doesn't. Fern fronds brush your shoulders as you push through the vegetation at the jungle's edge. Everything is huge. Ferns 6 feet tall, horsetails thick as your thigh, flowers you don't recognise hanging in clusters like alien chandeliers. The air smells green and rot sweet, like a greenhouse mixed with a swamp, with underneath it all something else, something sharp and musky that makes your hindbrain scream predator. You stop. 20 feet away, partially hidden by cycad trunks, something is watching you. You can't see it clearly, just a shape, something low to the ground with eyes that catch the light. forward-facing eyes, the eyes of a hunter. Your throat closes. Every nature documentary you've ever seen floods your memory. Predator eyes face forward for depth perception, for tracking prey. Prey eyes face sideways for panoramic awareness. These eyes are definitely forward-facing, and they're fixed on you with an intensity that makes your skin crawl. The amber is in your pocket. You could run, but where? The jungle is full of these things. The clearing behind you is exposed. The river might offer escape, but you don't know what lives in the water. Instead, you do the only thing that makes sense in this moment. You stand absolutely still and stare back. Minutes crawl by. The thing in the cycads doesn't move, and neither do you. Sweat runs down your back. A beetle the size of your thumb crawls across your shoe and you don't even twitch. Your calves start to ache. The sun climbs higher. Finally the creature shifts. You catch a glimpse of feathers. Actual feathers, rust red and bristling along its spine, and then it melts back into the jungle. You hear a branch crack, receding footsteps, and then silence except for the wind in the ferns and the distant rumble of the hadrosaurs. You exhale and your knees almost give out. You check the sun, almost directly overhead, almost noon. You move back to the clearing, to open space where you can see threats coming. The amber is warm in your hand again, pulsing slightly like a heartbeat. You hold it up and watch the light pass through it. The internal bubble is visible now, a perfect sphere of trapped air, and the ant inside seems to shimmer. The light creates a shadow on the ground at your feet, and as the sun reaches its zenith, that shadow begins to glow around the edges. At exactly noon, the shadow becomes a circle. A perfect ring of golden light surrounds your silhouette on the grey sand, sharp-edged and luminous. You step forward, both feet inside the circle, and the world changes. The sounds don't stop, but they become muffled, distant. The smell fades to almost nothing. You look down at your hands and they seem slightly transparent, like you're becoming part of the light. A theropod bursts from the jungle, smaller than you expected, about the size of a large dog covered in brown and white feathers, and runs directly at you. You tense, ready to bolt, but it veers away at the last second without even looking your way. It runs past you so close you could touch it, chasing something small and mammalian through the ferns, and then both are gone. You're invisible. Not to eyes, you can see yourself perfectly well, but to their senses. You don't smell like meat. You don't register as alive. You're just resin, tree sap, something to ignore. You spend the next hour exploring. With the sun moving, you have to constantly adjust your position, keeping your shadow centered in the shrinking ring of light, but it's worth it. You walk to the river and watch fish that look like armoured submarines glide through the tannin-dark water. You approach the hadrosaurs and they don't even glance at you, just keep stripping leaves from branches 20 feet above the ground. One of them has a wound on its flank, a set of parallel scratches that look disturbingly like claw marks, and you watch fascinated and horrified as flies the size of bumblebees cluster around the injury. You find a track in the mud near the river that makes your blood cold. 3-toed, each toe tipped with a claw as long as your hand, and so large that you could lie down inside the print. Tyrannosaurus? Something related. You don't stay to find out. By 2 in the afternoon, the ring of light has moved with the sun, shrunk slightly, and you're exhausted from the constant vigilance required to stay inside it. You head back to your landing spot and sit carefully, keeping your shadow contained. The amber rests in your palm and you study it in the clear Cretaceous light. The ant inside has shifted. You're sure of it. Its legs are in a different position, antennae angled differently. It shouldn't be possible, but you saw the amber fall from the display, felt it clutch in your hand during the transition, and now the ant has moved. Or time inside the amber has continued, just very slowly. 99 million years compressed into the space of a few hours. As the afternoon wears on, you notice changes in yourself. Your breathing has slowed, matching some rhythm in the amber's pulse. Your skin feels strange, slightly waxy, and when you touch your arm the texture is wrong, smoother, almost resinous. The imprint is starting. Each minute you spend here, the amber absorbs something from you, or gives something to you, or maybe both. A scent, a memory, a piece of time. At 5 o'clock by your best estimate, the sun is definitely descending, shadows lengthening toward the east. You prepare for extraction. The knowledge in the amber is clear. Face the sun, hold the amber up, and wait for the bubble inside to catch the light at exactly the right angle. When it reflects in your pupil, when you can see your own eye in that tiny sphere of ancient air, tilt the amber until your shadow fits completely inside the circle on the ground. Then step backward. You stand facing west, the sun burning orange through layers of Cretaceous atmosphere, and raise the amber. Light pours through it, throwing your shadow long and dark behind you. You tilt the amber slowly, watching the bubble inside. It catches the light, glows gold, and then suddenly you see it. Your own eye reflected in miniature, pupil dark in the amber's heart. Your shadow shrinks as the sun descends, pulled back toward your feet. The ring of light that surrounded you at noon has inverted, now a glowing circle that you need to fit inside. You adjust your stance, shuffling slightly. Your shadow contracts further, almost there. A few more seconds. A roar splits the evening air so loud and deep that you feel it in your bones. Something massive is moving through the jungle, heading your way. You can hear trees snapping, the crash of vegetation being demolished. The hadrosaurs scatter, bellowing in panic. Your shadow is still too large, still extends beyond the circle. The sun needs to drop another degree, maybe 2, but whatever is coming won't wait. You hold the amber steady despite your shaking hands. Your shadow shrinks another inch. The crashing is closer, maybe 50 yards away. You can smell it now, the sharp carrion reek of a massive predator. 40 yards. Your shadow almost fits. 30 yards. The jungle wall explodes outward and something steps into the clearing. It's not a Tyrannosaurus. It's something worse, sleeker, faster, with arms that are actually functional and jaws lined with teeth like railroad spikes. Its head swivels toward you, and you can see intelligence in those yellow eyes. Calculation. It takes a step forward, nostrils flaring. Your shadow fits. You see it happen. Watch the silhouette contract to exactly the circumference of the glowing circle, and you don't hesitate. You step backward into the light. The world inverts. Gold becomes black, becomes gold again, and you're falling upward, through layers of compressed time, through stone and sediment and the bones of vanished species. The museum floor rushes up to meet you and you land hard on your knees, skidding across the polished wood, and the amber tumbles from your hand. Security guards are shouting. An alarm is blaring. You're back in the fossil exhibit. The velvet rope torn from its stanchion. The display case open because apparently you ripped it open when you touched the amber and fell through. A guard has his hand on your shoulder, asking if you're okay, if you're having a medical emergency. You manage to nod, to apologise, to let him help you up. Your clothes are covered in grey sand that shouldn't exist anymore. There's a fern frond in your hair. The security guard is looking at you strangely, probably noticing these things, but before he can comment, you spot the amber on the floor and snatch it up. It's warmer than before, pulsing with slow heat, and the ant inside has definitely moved. It's halfway across the bead now, legs frozen mid-stride in a position it wasn't in before. Or maybe it was always in that position in this timeline, and only you remember it differently. They escort you out. You don't argue. You stumble onto the museum steps and into the evening crowd, the amber clutched tight in your fist. The sun is setting, same as it was in the Cretaceous, but 66 million years later, and the city is alive with sound, car horns, crosswalk signals beeping, someone's phone chirping, a siren wailing in the distance. Except you can barely hear the siren. It's there. You know it's there, but it sounds muffled, distant, like it's playing through water. You shake your head, trying to clear your ears, but the sound doesn't get clearer. You walk home in a daze, muscle memory guiding you through familiar streets that suddenly feel strange, too geometric, too grey. At home you collapse on your couch and the smell hits you. Green, rot sweet. The smell of the Cretaceous jungle. It's leaking from your pores, seeping into your apartment. You shower for 20 minutes, scrubbing until your skin is red, but the smell doesn't fade. It's coming from inside you, from whatever the amber imprinted during those hours in the past. Over the next few days, things get stranger. A fern sprouts in the crack between your front steps and the sidewalk. Not a normal fern, something ancient-looking, with fronds that unfurl in spirals and stems covered in rust-coloured fuzz. You pull it up and 2 more appear the next morning. By the end of the week, your entire front walk is lined with them, and your landlord is sending irritated emails about the landscaping. Moths appear at your windows at night. Hundreds of them. Wings pressed against the glass, and they're wrong. Too big, too big. Primitive. with patterns on their wings that look like eyes or faces. They follow you when you leave, a cloud of fluttering bodies that disperses only when you're several blocks away. And the birds, regular city birds, pigeons, sparrows, crows, begin shadowing you everywhere. They perch on phone lines overhead, on mailboxes beside you, on the railing of your apartment balcony. They don't scatter when you approach. They watch you with those forward-facing eyes that aren't quite forward enough to be mammalian but definitely show interest, attention, recognition. Living dinosaurs, evolutionary descendants of the creatures you saw, and somehow they know you. Somehow they sense you've been to their ancestral home. The worst part is the sounds. Every day, one familiar urban noise becomes harder to hear. The siren you couldn't quite catch that first evening is now completely inaudible. You see the ambulance, lights flashing, but hear nothing. The crosswalk signals stop beeping for you, though you see other pedestrians react to them. Your phone's notifications fade to silence, even though the screen shows calls and messages arriving. And in the place of those sounds, you hear others. At night, through your closed windows, you hear things that shouldn't be possible. The rumble of hadrosaurs, the buzz of dragonflies the size of your hand, the rustle of ferns in a wind that doesn't exist. The Cretaceous is bleeding through, following the scent trail the amber laid down, and with every day it gets stronger. You should be terrified. Part of you is. But another part, the part that felt the thrill of standing in that circle of light while a feathered theropod ran past, that part wants to go back. The amber sits on your desk, the ant inside having moved to a new position, and you know the rules now. You know how to survive there. An hour in the ring, 60 minutes of Cretaceous time, and only a few more city sounds would fade. How many sounds are there, really? How long until the crosswalk signals and sirens and phone chimes are all gone, replaced completely by the ancient chorus? 2 weeks after your first trip, you go back to the museum. They've replaced the display case with one that has better locks, added a new security camera, but you wait until closing and slip into the bathroom. When the museum is empty and dark, you emerge and make your way to the fossil exhibit by the glow of emergency lighting. You don't need the original amber. You brought your piece with you, but you want to see the display one more time to understand why this particular bead has the power it does. The new case is locked, but you press your palm against the glass and look at the other amber pieces, the other trapped insects and plant matter and bubbles of ancient air. One piece catches your attention. Larger than the others, the size of a golf ball, and completely clear except for a single bubble right in the centre. The placard says it's from the same Myanmar deposit. Same time. Period. Late Cretaceous, approximately 66 million years old. But this one has never been touched by museum visitors, has sat behind glass since it was excavated. You wonder what would happen if someone used that piece, where they would go, when they would arrive, whether the rules would be the same. You don't break the case, you turn away, your amber warm in your hand, and leave the museum. On the steps outside, under the sodium vapour lights, moths are already gathering. They land on your shoulders, your hair, your outstretched arms, until you're covered in wings that pulse slowly like breathing. A crow lands on the railing beside you, then another, 5, 10, 20, until the entire railing is lined with dark bodies and forward-facing eyes. They cock their heads in unison, watching you. You raise the amber and the streetlight behind you creates a ring of light on the concrete, wide and golden. The crows don't move. The moths don't scatter. You wonder if they'd follow you back, if the link you've created is strong enough to pull them through time, to reunite them with their ancestors in a world that ended when a mountain fell from the sky. You could find out. The sun is long gone, but the streetlight works just as well. Any concentrated light source will create the ring. Hold the amber right, step inside, and you're gone. Spend another hour there. Let another hour of scent soak into the amber. Trade another few city sounds for the rumble and buzz and rustle of deep time. Or you could throw the amber away, drop it down a storm drain, let it wash out to sea, break the connection before it gets any stronger. Keep your crosswalk signals and your phone chimes and your sirens. Stay in the present, in the familiar, in the world where nothing has teeth the size of railroad spikes. The moths pulse on your skin like a heartbeat. The crows shift on the railing, feathers rustling. Somewhere in the distance you can almost hear a sound like thunder, except it's not thunder. It's footsteps, massive footsteps, echoing through 66 million years of compressed stone. You close your fingers around the amber and feel its warmth, its pulse, the tiny movements of the ant inside marking time that should have ended long ago. The ring of light waits on the concrete, sharp-edged and golden. Behind you, the museum is dark and silent. Ahead of you, the city stretches into the night, familiar and increasingly foreign, its sounds fading one by one. You think about that theropod in the jungle, the one with the forward-facing eyes that watched you from the cycads. You think about the massive track by the river, the three-toed print large enough to lie down inside. You think about the moment when the predator burst into the clearing and you stepped backward through time, heart hammering, alive in a way you haven't felt since. The moths are waiting. The crows are waiting. The amber is warm and pulsing and ready. The ring of light shimmers on the concrete, patient as resin, ancient as the trapped air in its heart. You step forward, both feet inside the circle, and the city sounds, the few that remain, begin to fade. The moth's wings beat faster. The crows lean forward, eyes bright with recognition or hunger or memory. The amber flares in your hand, hot enough to burn, and the light rises around you like walls of gold. You don't step back, not this time. You step forward again, deeper into the ring, and the concrete beneath your feet begins to soften, to shift, to become grey sand under a sun that died 66 million years before you were born. The crows take flight all at once, a dark cloud rising into the sodium-lit sky, but their calls aren't crow calls anymore. They're something older, stranger, a sound that belongs to a world where their kind ruled the earth. The last thing you hear before the present disappears completely is a phone notification from somewhere nearby, chiming bright and clear and already impossibly distant. Then that sound fades too, replaced by the rumble of hadrosaurs and the buzz of dragonflies, and the hot Cretaceous wind through ferns that tower like houses. The amber pulses in your hand, recording every second, every breath, every minute of scent that will bleed back into the present when you return. If you return. The sun climbs toward noon, and you raise the amber to the light, watching your shadow darken on the sand. Somewhere in the cycads, something with forward-facing eyes is watching. The river whispers behind you, dark with tannin and ancient fish. The hadrosaurs call to each other in their rumbling language, and overhead, a dragonfly the size of a dinner plate catches the light, its wings throwing rainbows across the prehistoric air. You breathe deep, taking in the green rot-sweet smell of the jungle, and begin to walk. The ring of light moves with you, keeping pace with your shadow, and for this moment, for these 60 minutes that will cost you sirens and crosswalk signals and phone chimes and who knows what else, you are somewhere impossibly old, and vanished and alive in ways the present has forgotten how to be. The amber grows warmer with each step, soaking in time, and you don't look back. This time you came prepared. A backpack with water bottles, protein bars, a compass that's probably useless here but makes you feel better anyway. A camera, though you're not sure if photographs will survive the journey back or if they'll just be blank squares, light from a dead sun that can't reach modern sensors. You have questions the amber can't answer, gaps in the knowledge it downloaded into your brain during that first arrival. The noon ring forms right on schedule and you step inside, feeling the familiar shift as the world mutes around you. The invisibility settles over you like a second skin, and you head deeper into the jungle than you dared last time. The ferns give way to groves of cycads, their trunks twisted and ancient even by Cretaceous standards. Something has clawed deep gouges in the bark, marked 6 feet off the ground, that weep amber-coloured sap. You touch the sap and it's warm, almost body temperature. A drop falls onto your hand, and where it lands your skin tingles, then numbs slightly. You wipe it off quickly, but the sensation lingers. The trees here produce the same substance that's allowing you to walk among dinosaurs untouched. You wonder if that's why the amber works. If it's not just fossilised resin, but something more. A chemical key that unlocks the barrier between predator and prey. A biological password that says not food, not alive, just tree. A sound makes you freeze. Not a roar, not the rumble of hadrosaurs, but something else. Singing, high-pitched and complex, a pattern of notes that rises and falls in what might be language or might be music, or might be something humans don't have a word for. You follow it deeper into the cycad grove, keeping careful watch on your shadow, making sure it stays centred in the ring of light. The source is a small theropod, no bigger than a turkey, perched on a low branch. Its feathers are iridescent blue and green, shifting colours as it moves, and it's making those sounds from a throat that pulses with each note. It's not looking at you, nothing looks at you in the ring, but it's singing directly at another of its kind on a nearby branch. Courting maybe, or claiming territory, or just talking. The sounds are beautiful and alien, and they make your chest ache with a loneliness you didn't know you were carrying. You watch for 10 minutes, recording video that probably won't survive the trip home, and the whole time the two creatures sing to each other in that complex pattern. When you finally move on, the song follows you through the jungle, fading slowly until it's replaced by other sounds, the buzz of insects, the rustle of something large moving through the underbrush, the ever-present rumble of the hadrosaur herd. You find another print by the river, this one fresh. Water is still seeping into the depression, which means whatever made it was here minutes ago. The three-toed shape is clear, each toe ending in a claw, and there's a fourth mark behind the main print. A dew claw, raised off the ground but sometimes dragging. You know this shape from books and documentaries and childhood dreams. This is Tyrannosaurus, or something so close it doesn't matter. The water of the river is clearer here, flowing faster over pale stones, and you can see shapes moving beneath the surface. Not fish, these are larger, smoother, with flippers instead of fins. A reptile surfaces 20 feet out, takes a breath and dives again. You catch a glimpse of a long neck and a body the size of a dolphin. Freshwater plesiosaur maybe, or something that filled the same niche. The Cretaceous was stranger than any museum display suggests, full of creatures that don't fit the neat categories of land and sea, predator and prey. You follow the river upstream, paralleling the bank but staying in the tree line where the ring of light still works. The sun has moved past its zenith, and your shadow grows longer, which means you're running out of time. But there's something ahead, something you can see through the trees, that makes you keep walking, a clearing. But not a natural one. The trees here have been knocked down, pushed over by something massive, and they're arranged in a pattern. A circle, and in the centre of the circle, bones. Huge bones, picked clean, the ribs of something hadrosaur size sticking up from the sand like the frame of a collapsed tent. This is a feeding site, a place where apex predators bring their kills, and it's occupied. The Tyrannosaurus is sleeping. You can see the rise and fall of its chest, hear the deep rumble of its breathing. It's lying in the sun in the centre of the bone circle, and it's enormous, bigger than you expected, bigger than seems possible. 40 feet long, maybe more, with jaws that could swallow you whole and tiny useless arms tucked against its chest. Its skin is rough and scarred, more grey than green, and covered in patches of small proto-feathers that rustle in the breeze. You should leave. Every instinct screams at you to back away slowly and get as far from this thing as possible. But you're in the ring, you're invisible, and you might never get this chance again. You step into the clearing. The ring of light moves with you, a golden circle on the sand. The Tyrannosaurus doesn't stir. You walk closer, close enough to see the scars on its hide, close enough to count the teeth visible through its partially open jaws. Close enough to smell it, a reek of rotting meat and musk and something sharp that makes your eyes water. You raise your camera and take a photo, then another. The ring is shrinking as the sun descends and you need to leave soon. Need to get to open ground for the extraction, but you can't help yourself. You walk around the sleeping predator, documenting it from every angle, and the whole time it doesn't move, doesn't sense you, because in the ring you're not prey, you're nothing. You're air and light and fossilized resin. A cloud drifts across the sun, the ring flickers and your heart stops. The Tyrannosaurus's eye opens, just one, the one facing you, a yellow eye with a slit pupil that focuses with terrifying speed. The cloud passes and the ring stabilizes and the eye closes again, but you felt it. For just a moment, you existed. You were real. You were meat. You back away slowly, not running because running means prey, and make it to the tree line before the next cloud comes. The walk back to your landing site takes 15 minutes, and the whole time you can feel the amber pulsing in your hand, hot and urgent, soaking up every second. Your skin has that waxy feeling again, stronger than before. When you look at your hands, they seem slightly translucent, like you're becoming amber yourself, slowly fossilizing into the thing you carry. The sun is low when you reach the clearing. You face west and raise the amber, finding your eye in the bubble's reflection, watching your shadow shrink as the sun descends. This time nothing interrupts. Your shadow fits the circle, you step backward, and the world inverts in a rush of golden light. You land in your apartment, not the museum this time. The amber has learned where home is, has locked onto the place where you sleep and eat and exist in the present. You're on your living room floor, hardwood instead of museum tile, and the amber is so hot it's burning your palm. You drop it and it rolls under the couch, pulsing like a tiny sun. The smell hits you before you can stand. That green, rot-sweet jungle smell, but stronger than before, thick enough to taste. And underneath it something else. Musk, meat, the reek of a predator's breath. You've brought more back this time. More than just spores and scent. You've brought something bigger, some imprint deeper than before. Your phone is ringing. You can see it on the coffee table, screen lit up with an incoming call, but you can't hear it. The sound is gone completely now. You lost 3 more sounds during those 60 minutes. Phone calls, apparently, and something else you won't identify until you need it and it's not there. The screen shows your sister's name, but there's no ringtone, no vibration, nothing but the visual notification of a call you can sense but can't hear. You let it go to voicemail and crawl to the couch, fishing out the amber. It's cooler now, almost room temperature, and the ant inside has moved again. It's near the edge of the bead, antennae extended as if it's trying to find a way out. You wonder what happens if it completes its journey across the amber. You wonder what happens if the ant reaches the edge and pushes through and emerges into a world 66 million years after it died. The ferns on your front walk have spread to the neighbour's yard. You see them through your window, a whole carpet of rust-coloured fronds where grass used to be. And your neighbour is out there with a weed whacker looking baffled because the ferns just bend and spring back, too tough to cut. The moths are at your window in force now, so many that they block the streetlight, turning your living room into a cave of fluttering wings and ancient patterns. And there are footsteps in the alley behind your building. Heavy footsteps, 3-toed, that crack the pavement with their weight. You can't see what's making them, but you can hear them. The sounds of the Cretaceous have replaced enough modern noise that you can hear the predator pacing behind your building as clearly as you once heard traffic. Back and forth it walks, following the scent trail you've laid, trying to find the source, trying to find you. You should be terrified. You are terrified. But you're also exhilarated because this is real. This is happening. The boundary between past and present is dissolving, and you're the catalyst. Every minute you spend in the Cretaceous weakens the barrier, lets more of it bleed through, until eventually what? Until the present becomes the past. Until dinosaurs walk the streets and ferns cover the highways, and humanity wakes up to find itself displaced, pushed aside by a world that ended but refuses to stay dead. The amber pulses in your hand, still warm, still hungry. You've given it 2 hours of your life, 120 minutes of scent and time and essence, and it wants more. You can feel its desire, its purpose. It's not just a tool, it's a doorway, and doorways work both ways. You can go there. But things can also come here, and with every trip the door opens wider. Your neighbour gives up on the ferns and goes inside. The moths settle on your window, wings folded, waiting. The footsteps in the alley pause, and you hear a sound that stops your heart. A rumble, deep and questioning. The sound a tyrannosaurus makes when it's caught a scent but can't see the prey. It's here, in the present, in your city, standing in the alley behind your 21st century apartment building, confused because the scent is strong, but the source is invisible. You go to your window and look down. The alley's empty. Just dumpsters and recycling bins and a homeless man's shopping cart, but the pavement is cracked, fresh cracks in a pattern you recognise. 3-toed, the same print you saw by the Cretaceous River. The man with the shopping cart is gone. There's a smell in the air that makes you gag, and one of the dumpsters is overturned, its contents scattered. And in the scattered trash you see something that makes your knees weak. A phone. Still lit up, showing a text conversation, the screen cracked but functional. Your neighbour's phone. The man who was just outside cutting down ferns. His phone is in the alley, in the trash, surrounded by 3-toed prints. You back away from the window. The amber is burning in your hand again, hot with urgency or warning. The ant inside has reached the edge. It's right at the surface of the bead, legs pressed against the curved wall, and you can see it moving in real time now. Not the slow fossilised crawl, but actual movement, as if it's waking up after 66 million years of sleep. Your sister calls again. You watch the phone light up, see her name, see the timer counting up as the call connects, but hear nothing. Another sound has faded from your world. You've lost the ability to hear phone calls entirely, not just the ringtone. You pick up the phone and press it to your ear, say hello, and hear nothing in response, though the timer shows the call is active. Your sister is talking, but the sound exists in a frequency you can no longer access, replaced by something else. A chittering insectile sound coming from somewhere in your apartment. The amber! The sound is coming from the amber. You hold it up to the light and the ant is definitely moving, its legs working against the resin that's held it prisoner for 99 million years. The chittering grows louder and you realise it's not coming from the ant. It's coming from your walls, from inside your walls. You press your ear against the plaster and hear them, dozens of them, hundreds maybe, insect legs scrabbling against wooden studs and electrical wires. The spores you brought back didn't just grow ferns, they grew everything. A whole ecosystem is establishing itself in the bones of your building, fed by the scent that leaks from your pores every time you come back. You need to stop. You know you need to stop. 2 trips, 2 hours, and already your neighbour is missing. Your apartment is infested, and something with teeth the size of railroad spikes is hunting in your alley. If you go back again, if you spend another hour in that golden ring of light, what comes through? What sound do you lose? What pieces of the present dissolve to make room for the past? But the amber is warm and the knowledge is clear. You know where to find things now. You know the territories, the feeding grounds, the places where the most spectacular creatures gather. You could see a herd of Triceratops, watch pteranodons dive for fish, find the nesting grounds where eggs the size of basketballs rest in carefully arranged mounds. You could document it all, bring back proof, show the world that time isn't a locked door but a threshold you can cross, except you can't bring back proof. The photos on your camera are already fading, the ones from the second trip. You check and the image of the sleeping Tyrannosaurus is grey and indistinct, like a picture that's been left in the sun too long. The singing theropods are completely gone, just blank space where they should be. The present rejects evidence of the past the same way the past ignores you when you're in the ring. The barrier works both ways. You can cross it, but you can't bring souvenirs, can't carry proof from one side to the other. Only the amber makes the journey, and whatever changes it makes to you. Your hands are definitely more translucent now. You hold them up to the lamp and see light passing through your flesh, see the shadow of bones that look slightly wrong, fingers that seem too long, joints that bend at angles that shouldn't be possible. You're becoming something else, something between human and resin, present and past, flesh and fossil. The moths suddenly explode away from your window, scattering in all directions. The chittering in your walls stops. Everything goes silent, the kind of silence that means predator, and you feel the vibration before you hear it. A footstep heavy enough to shake your building. Another, closer. The thing in the alley is coming back, drawn by the scent that's stronger now, concentrated in your apartment after 2 full hours of absorption. You grab the amber and run to your bathroom, the only room without windows. You lock the door and sit in the bathtub, heart hammering, amber clutched in both hands. Another footstep shakes the building. You hear car alarms going off, people shouting, sounds you shouldn't be able to hear anymore but somehow can, maybe because they're not normal city sounds, but sounds of panic, of prey recognizing a predator. A roar shakes the walls. You know that roar. You heard it in the Cretaceous right before you stepped backward through time, and now it's here in the present, calling out in a world that has no answer for it. The building groans. Something crashes. Your neighbour's apartment, you think. The wall between your units splintering. Heavy breathing. The sound of something massive moving through space not built for it. And then a snuffling sound right outside your bathroom door. The amber flares hot enough to burn and you almost drop it. Light pours from it, golden and intense, and forms a ring on the bathroom floor around you. The protection. Even here, even in the present, the amber is creating the ring, making you invisible. The bathroom door explodes inward, frame and all, and something pushes its head through. Yellow eye, slit pupil, rows of teeth. The Tyrannosaurus has found you, has pushed through the barrier between past and present following the scent of its own time, and it's staring directly at the bathroom, directly at the tub, searching for the source of the smell. But you're in the ring. You're holding the amber and standing in the circle of light, and you don't exist. You're not prey, you're not food, you're nothing. The eye blinks, the head withdraws. You hear it moving through your apartment, knocking over furniture, crushing the coffee table under feet that leave three-toed prints in your hardwood floor. It's real and solid and here, as present as you are, and when it roars again the sound is so loud and close that you feel it in your teeth. Then it's gone. Moving away, crashing through the wall into the hallway, its footsteps receding down the stairs. You hear screaming, more car alarms, and then a sound you thought you'd lost. Sirens, police sirens, fire trucks, converging on your building from all directions. You can hear them clearly now, not because you've regained the sound, but because they're loud enough to penetrate even the frequency shift. The city is responding to an impossible threat, and you caused it. You stay in the tub for an hour, holding the amber, kneeling in the ring of a light until it finally fades as the sun sets outside. When you emerge, your apartment is destroyed. The wall to your neighbour's unit is gone, just a gaping hole with rebar jutting out. Your furniture is kindling. Three-toed prints track across everything, each one pressed deep into the floor, and the smell, that meat and musk reek, hangs over everything like a fog. Police are evacuating the building. You hear them in the hallway, shouting instructions, asking if anyone's hurt. You can't let them find you here. Can't explain the prints or the smell or the hole in the wall, shaped like something that shouldn't exist. You grab your backpack, stuff the amber in it along with some clothes, and climb out your window onto the fire escape. The alley below is full of police cars, fire trucks, ambulances, lights strobing red and blue in the darkness, and ferns. The alley is carpeted in ferns now, rust-coloured fronds growing from every crack in the pavement, and the officers are standing in them looking confused because ferns don't grow like this, don't spread this fast, don't appear overnight in cities. You climb down while they're distracted and slip away into the crowd of evacuees. Your building is surrounded by emergency vehicles, news vans pulling up, reporters already going live. You catch a glimpse of a TV camera and turn away before it can find you. Behind you, your apartment building stands with a gaping hole in its side, and in that hole you can see movement. Moths, thousands of them, pouring out into the night like smoke. You walk, no destination, just away. The amber is heavy in your backpack, pulsing against your spine. The city looks wrong now, too angular, too artificial. The sounds are wrong. You've lost sirens again, can barely hear them even when ambulances pass right by you. Car horns are fading too, becoming distant and muted. In their place you hear other things, the rumble of something large in the distance, the buzz of insects that shouldn't exist, the rustle of ferns growing in cracks you haven't noticed yet but will. You find yourself at a park, one of those small urban green spaces with a few trees and some benches. It's empty at this hour, just you and the moths that have followed you and the crows that line the branches overhead. You sit on a bench and put your head in your hands. Your neighbour is missing. Your building is destroyed. A Tyrannosaurus walked through your apartment. The boundary between past and present is collapsing, and you're the reason why. The amber rolls out of your backpack and onto the ground, coming to rest at your feet. The ant has nearly completed its journey across the bead. Just another millimetre, and it will reach the surface, will push through into the present, will be the first creature from the Cretaceous to fully cross over. You wonder what happens then. You wonder if that's when the barrier fails completely, when past and present merge and everything you know dissolves. You could destroy it, smash the amber, grind it to powder, end this before it goes further. But even as you think it, you know you won't. Can't. The amber is part of you now, has written itself into your cells during those 2 hours of exposure. Destroying it might destroy you too, might leave you frozen between moments like the ant, stuck in a present that no longer quite accepts you. A woman appears at the edge of the park. She's wearing clothes that don't quite fit the current style, too simple, too rough, and she's carrying something in her hands. As she gets closer, you see it's amber, a large piece the size of an apple, perfectly clear, except for a bubble in the centre. You recognise it from the museum display, the one you looked at but didn't touch. Someone else has found the way through. She sits on the bench beside you without asking. Up close you can see the changes in her. The translucent quality to her skin, the waxy texture, the way her fingers bend at wrong angles. She's been going back longer than you have, has spent more time in the ring, has given more of herself to the past. When she speaks, her voice has harmonics in it, layers of sound that shouldn't come from a human throat. It's beautiful there, isn't it? She doesn't look at you, just at the amber in her hands. More real than this, more alive. The first time I went back, I stayed for 3 hours. Lost almost everything. Phones, cars, TVs, computers, all the artificial sounds just gone, replaced by real things, growing things, living things. You're killing people, you say. My neighbour. Your neighbour wasn't killed. He crossed over. When the barrier gets thin enough, sometimes people slip through without meaning to. He's there now in the Cretaceous, probably terrified but alive, probably hiding from things with too many teeth. She finally looks at you, and her eyes are wrong. The pupils are wrong, too round, too dark. Or maybe he's figured out the ring by now. Maybe he's walking among them, invisible and free. The Tyrannosaurus in my apartment. We'll go back. They always do. They don't like it here. Too cold, too hard, too dead. They push through following the scent, but the present makes them sick, makes them weak. Give it a few hours and it'll find its way back. They always do. She holds up her amber and light pours through it despite the lack of sun. I'm going back for good tomorrow. Noon from the roof of the old stadium. 10 hours in the ring. Everything I have left. After that I won't be able to come back even if I wanted to. I'll be past the threshold, too changed to exist here. Why? Because here is dying. Can't you feel it? This whole concrete world is just death pretending to be life. But there... She closes her eyes and smiles. There everything is alive. Everything is real. The present is just a thin skin over deep time, and that skin is breaking. People like us were tearing holes in it, but the holes were always going to appear. The past doesn't stay buried. It rises up. It reclaims. She stands to leave, but you grab her arm. How do I stop it? How do I close the holes? You don't. She pulls free easily, too easily, your grip sliding off her waxy skin. You either go back all the way, or you stay here and watch everything you know get replaced. Those are the only choices. The amber showed you the way through. Now you have to decide which side you belong on. She walks away into the darkness and the moths don't follow her because they're already following you. They've already chosen their side. The crows in the trees above call out in that ancient voice, the one that belongs to their ancestors, and you realise they're not shadowing you because they recognise a fellow time traveller. They're shadowing you because you smell like prey. The amber at your feet has gone dark. The ant inside has stopped moving, frozen again at the very edge of the bead, waiting. The whole thing is waiting. The amber, the ant, the past itself, for you to make a choice. You pick it up, still warm, still pulsing with that slow heartbeat rhythm. In the distance you can hear the sounds of your building being evacuated, emergency crews trying to make sense of what happened, scientists probably being called in to study the prints and the ferns and the moths. They'll have explanations, ghastly hallucinations, mass hysteria, elaborate hoax. Because the alternative is impossible, and humans will believe any lie rather than accept that time is not a line but a circle, and the circle is closing. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. A text message from your sister, asking if you're okay, telling you she saw your building on the news. You can feel the vibration but hear nothing. You've lost that sound too. Texts and notifications joining the growing list of present tense communications you can no longer access. Soon you won't be able to communicate at all, at least not in ways that people of this era would understand. You'll speak in rumbles and roars and chittering insect sounds, the language of deep time. 10 hours. That's what the woman said. 10 hours in the ring, and you cross over completely, become something that belongs to the past and can never fully return. You've spent 2 hours so far. You have 8 left before the threshold. 8 hours to see everything, to walk among the creatures that ruled the earth before your species even existed, to live in a world more vivid and deadly and alive than anything the present can offer. Or you could stop now, throw the amber away, accept the changes you've already undergone, live the rest of your life half transformed, hearing hadrosaur calls through your walls and watching ferns grow in impossible places. A living reminder of a journey you started but didn't finish. The moths settle on your shoulders like a cloak. The crows hop down from the trees surrounding your bench, waiting to see what you'll do. The amber pulses in your hand, warm and patient and hungry for more. You think about the singing theropods with their iridescent feathers, the hadrosaurs rumbling to each other in their ancient language, the river full of creatures that don't fit any category you know. The Tyrannosaurus sleeping in its circle of bones, magnificent and terrible and real in a way nothing in the present has ever been. You think about your sister's unanswered text, your destroyed apartment, your missing neighbour who might be hiding in Sacared Grove 66 million years ago, trying to survive in a world that wants to eat him. The amber pulses, the moths pulse in rhythm with it. The crows tilt their heads, watching with those knowing eyes, and you realise you've already decided. Decided the moment you touched the amber in the museum, or maybe before that. Maybe you were always meant to make this journey, written into your genes by some distant ancestor who climbed trees to escape from things with teeth. You stand up. The moths take flight, swirling around you. The crows launch themselves into the air, calling in voices that echo back through the ages. And you begin to walk, out of the park through streets that are already growing ferns between the concrete slabs, past buildings where you can hear insects chittering in the walls. You're going to find an open space. A parking lot or a field, or the roof of that old stadium the woman mentioned. Somewhere with a clear view of the sky. And tomorrow at noon, when the sun is directly overhead, you're going to hold up the amber and step into the ring. And this time, you're not coming back.